Many pet parents largely focus on food, walks, or treats, kind of things to keep their dogs engaged. But how are toys essentially also essential for the well-being of dogs?
Actually, that's one of the biggest misunderstandings where you think,
He is 9 years old now, and he's a lab. He has certain health issues also,
yeah,
so he is sleeping most of the time. So and he's really not interested in toys. What is the basic difference between toys for cats and dogs?
that's because cats are again great hunters.
I think
It's
that
only when,
awareness is still not there that
yeah,
why toys are needed and how it helps your dog.
it's a common thing that you see where people say that my dog.
Most of the pet parents, I think, don't know how to use the toys. Dogs generally pick up unfamiliar toys.
The personality.
What advice do you have for first-time pet parents selecting toys?
Rather than going for like,
Can you share a memorable story where one of your toys really made a difference to the dog's life?
yeah, of course.
Hi Deepthi.
Hi.
So firstly, tell your story. How did you go from loving dogs to crafting toys for them?
Mine's been a very accidental, organic journey. I was in media earlier, in films and advertising, when I also decided for love, passion, joy to learn dog behavior and work as a trainer. So that happened before I had gotten my own dog. I've grown up with dogs, but my own indie, who I adopted and was raising by myself, happened after that. So this ended up being a real meeting place of me trying to. This ended up being me trying to manage meeting a dog's needs, kind of understanding what they want as much as what human wants, and managing myself as a really overwhelmed pet parent. So finding those gaps, finding toys that worked for my dog, for dogs that I was training with, is where it really started. And it kind of organically snowballed into a business.
Do you remember your first toy creation and how your dog responded to it?
Yeah, that's actually where it all began for us. It was on a long train journey. And since I had a lot of time and I was looking for ways to keep my dog Gaia a little bit busy, I decided to carry with me all the supplies to make a snuffle mat. Okay. So that was the first mat I made, kept myself entertained on the train, and it worked on her brilliantly. So she played with it 2-3 times on that journey, was happy to like relax right after that. We played with it a lot once we got home as well. And then I wanted to start making it for my students, the other dogs that I was training with, friends, things like that. And when I started searching for better material to make it with, is actually the origin story of the business, to find something that was custom made and would work long term.
So, what is the snuffle mat, if you could tell
Sure.
me?
So, a snuffle mat and the snuffle range of toys. The idea is to give your dog a game of finding their food. So, foraging for food, searching for food, using their nose to problem solve and find food. These are things that come naturally to a lot of dogs. It's a very instinctive behavior. It's the behavior that has like evolved wolves to dogs, right? They don't hunt for their food, they search for their food. So making this into a game. So toys where you can scatter treats, hide treats, and let them use their nose to find it, which helps them keep engaged, really works their mind, and kind of fulfills this natural instinct. So that's what natural snuffle toys are about.
When did you think of making this as a business? And why did you name it For the Love of Dogs?
Like I said, it started purely because I just wanted a specific kind of material that came up in my research that I figured would last well. And that was not available in the market. It had to be custom made. And if I had to get it custom made, I needed it in bulk quantities. So something that really started as a DIY project that I thought I could do for dogs I know ended up being something that ended up being this business. But also, it was a gap. It was something that was not available in the market. So snuffle toys in itself, which is like such a whole category of toys, something that I learned from the internet, Facebook, something that was pretty common abroad, hadn't reached India yet. And when I saw how my dog took to it, and my dog who doesn't otherwise like squeaky toys, who's not interested in tug, but this game was something that really worked for her in keeping her actually engaged, ended up being something that I was not able to find in the market. There were very few toys who did this kind of, who fell in this
Engaging it,
category,
yeah.
which didn't fall in this category. Maybe Kong, there were one or two. But there was so much to explore, and as I saw that a lot of dogs were enjoying it as well. So they too have, they also need to exercise their mind. So that's where toys come in, which are a really great tool to channel that energy, to give them fulfillment of their natural needs. So all these kind of things. Okay, for example, we will not let our dog chase a bird or a cat or a rat, right? But that prey drive is really natural for dogs. Other things. So if your dog barks, you don't want them to bark. If your dog's trying to steal something from the table, you're not going to let them steal from the
So let's try this snuffle mat for Oreo.
Yeah.
And how she reacts to it. Oreo, wait.
She's already
Move.
begun searching. You have to wait for the treats.
You want to hide some. Wait. Stay.
Here, come, take this. Come. Good job. Good job.
Okay. Oreo, try
Good
from
job.
this.
Find it. She's a pro.
Maybe I didn't hide it well enough.
She knows what to do.
So are all snuffle toys made in the similar format, or they're like complex ones or simpler ones?
You can design them to have different challenge levels.
Okay.
So
This is a very basic one.
This one is fairly simple, which is not a bad thing also, yeah, because for some dogs, this is sufficiently satisfying.
Okay.
Some are really good at it. They can crack it in no time. They're willing to be challenged a little bit more.
Okay.
Some need, like for Indies, if you see, or Beagles, if you see, hound dogs, even the toughest challenge, they make it look so smooth like butter.
Okay.
So, yes, there are different ways to design your toys, different. Even if you're DIYing it, you can make the challenge levels upar niche, tougher.
And who can customize these basis what if a dog has a specific kind of a need? And a pet parent comes to you that my dog's behavior is specifically like this, and I want to address this through a toy. That can be done.
Yes, but it's going to depend on the dog. It doesn't depend on the problem as much as it depends on the dog's personality.
Okay.
So, what is the issue? What do they like? What is their breed instinct?
Okay.
What are their personal preferences? Okay. So, you're going to have to. It'll always be customized depending on that dog. So, for example, like separation anxiety, ke liye, can I get into that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, for like some people try and use these kind of toys for separation anxiety. It won't work because if your dog's actually got separation anxiety and they are having a full-blown panic attack when you leave, the last thing they're going to care about is food. So it's not going to actually solve that problem. But maybe you can start using it for very, very baby steps, teaching them to be by themselves alone while you're at home.
Okay.
So, maybe it can be a part of a larger solution. It's not, hey, this is, it's not this is your one-stop solution kind of thing. All toys in general, all of it works kind of joined together.
Okay. So, what behavioral or emotional consequences can happen when dogs lack these mental stimulation?
That is actually when most people come looking for it or start looking for a toy that's appropriate for them. When they see that their dog is getting really bored. So you'll see that whether it's destruction, whether it's chewing the table or it's barking too much. Or on the other end of it, actually gets too quiet, sleeps too much. It kind of, you might not even realize what depression in dogs look like, but they kind of lose that interest in life. That is what it's meant to do, that to keep your dog mentally active, to give them confidence in being able to learn new skills, solve new problems, challenge them. It's the same for us as playing a puzzle, for example.
Or is this true only for older dogs? Because generally, like Whiskey, who is my elder one, he is 9 years old now, and he's a lab. He has certain health issues also. So he is sleeping most of the time. So and he's really not interested in toys. He used to play a lot when he was younger, but now he doesn't. So could Could I be reading it incorrect that maybe he has some problem, or because he's not interested in toys, or is it just an age related thing?
The same, I mean, you with the same dog, you're going to see them with shifting preferences through their life.
Yeah.
So as their energy levels are going to change, their food requirements are going to change, so is their preference for toys, right? But that is something for you to experiment and see. So it's not something that you can say ki acha 5 years ago we tried it and he didn't like it then, so I'm not going to try it again.
Okay.
So for example, does he play with snuffle toys?
I've not tried.
So that would be great for a senior dog who's food motivated. If he's a lab, I'm guessing.
Definitely.
Yeah, so also doesn't require too much physical activity, but it will still work his mind. So definitely worth a shot.
Okay.
And even with whiskey, you're going to have to start with a really easy level. So this mat, for example, is nice and easy. Good place to start.
Okay.
So if you make it too tough to start with, then maybe he'll get frustrated. He won't be able to find the treats, and then he'll be like, "Jane do." And then you're going to read that as he wasn't interested in snuffle toys. Okay. So start easy and level up depending on the feedback you're getting from him.
So what are the different kind of toys, like different categories? Like there is mental stimulation. Are there other categories of toys like this?
I mean, actually all toys are meant for mental stimulation, right? So even with Tug playing together, it's going to definitely keep that mind active. But if you're looking at larger categories, I'd probably say Tug toys, most common, that most people are familiar with rather. Okay. It's a two-player game, right? Tugs are for you and your dog to play together. Great like exercise for playing indoors, good to bond, cooperative game. Yeah. So builds trust, builds that bond between the two of you. Then you have squeaky toys, which may not necessarily be tug worthy, but the squeak is what interests them. Yes. And that squeak comes from where? It mimics the sound of a rat dying. Oh, yeah. Okay. So because it channels their prey drive. Okay. So when you hear that sound, the dog, that's why they want to get to that squeaky toy, rip it apart, remove all the insides, shut that squeaker up, and then they're like harpies, right? Mm-hmm. So it's because that's the channeling of their prey drive. Okay. And that's the sequence that gives them most satisfaction. Then you have snuffle toys, which is one of the categories I think we've brought to India, where, like I was saying, the idea is to channel their natural instinct to forage. To find food, to search for food, because dogs are opportunistic scavengers. So we made a game out of that. You also have other such interactive toys, for example, which like the balls that you chase. Yeah. So actually, even just a regular tennis ball. That's a game some dogs love. Yeah, not all, but some dogs love that because they enjoy the chase, which is also a part of the prey drive.
So are there any specific studies which say that how toys have been able to help in reducing aggression, anxiety, or any kind of issue in dogs?
I mean, yes, there have been actually a lot of studies, but what's coming to my mind right now is, in fact, you were talking about senior dogs, right? So there was a study in 2010, I think, which specifically found that they had two groups. One group that of senior dogs, 9+, that were given puzzles, interactive toys, problem-solving skills were kind of kept to test, and another that didn't. And they found that all the cognitive behaviors related to memory, keeping more alert, they found that dogs who were using these games and toys fared better in the long run, even after 4 years. So it's the same thing for us. The more we use our brain, the more we keep it active, the more it works for us. But if you let your brain rot set in, it is going to slow you down mentally. Similar for animals as well. In fact, actually, this whole thing, if you're talking about studies, the whole idea of toys in itself, of enrichment, it started in a lab. It started with that chimpanzee that doctors used to experiment on right from the 1910s, 1920s. And they found that simple things like giving an object to their subject, which is the chimpanzee, um, brought some alertness in the animal that wasn't there before. Then slowly that went on to being creating a environment that's more similar, kind of replicating their natural habitat. So that's how zoos have gone to sanctuaries with that same idea, that you want to kind of recreate it. They're captive animals like our dogs are. We have complete control over where they're going to eat, when they're going to eat, when walk, how many walks, when they're going to pee. All comes down to us and us deciding it, right? So in this situation, the idea is how can you now give them an environment, give them situations where they can just be themselves.
So are there any, like I've seen very different kind of toys for cats and different kind of toys for dogs. So do you make toys for cats also first? And what is the basic difference between toys for cats and toys for dogs?
We don't do cats yet, but it's on my things to do list. The main difference is exactly that. It's what instincts are you trying to address? Exactly. So, for example, a snuffle mat, even though cats have a really good sense of smell, and they are actually pretty good at finding treats. But what happens is, because their anatomy is different, their whiskers, apparently, if they go through something like this, where their whiskers keep getting agitated, it's going to cause something called whisker fatigue, which makes them uncomfortable. So you don't want that. Instead, you'll see a lot of, again, chase toys, those wands, things like that, with ribbons and stuff for them to. That's another one. That's because cats are again great hunters, and that is what you're trying to give them to do.
Okay.
Chase, hunt, paw, capture, that kind of stuff. So it's just, what are you addressing? What is that toy for?
In India, pet toys are growing at a rate of 12%, the growth of this industry.
Wow.
So, are we caring enough about play and not just food? Because I see every day I see a new pet food brand coming up, whether it is fresh food or whether it is packaged food. But that's not the case with toys. It is still very homegrown, and most of the toys what we see in shops is all China made.
Yeah. In fact, it's not homegrown. Most of it is China made. We are like the bulk dump country for toys.
And they're very expensive also.
They're some of them are. I think food is definitely really big and trending right now, as it should be in its own right, because people are moving from dry food or imbalanced home cooked meals to think they're understanding what the dog's nutrition requirements really are.
Right.
So that's becoming a big focus, and rightly so. Health is everything. But in terms of toys, it's a very incidental thing. So toys is ki acha grooming ke liye leke gaye, tab we've just picked up something. You want to gift you're going to meet a new dog, so you'll gift something. Otherwise, toys it's very, now only when you see pet parents who are kind of overwhelmed, they're not able to understand, they just need whatever to be in that Zoom meeting. That is how they discover us. So it's end up, or even stuff like snuffle toys or toys that engage their minds or helps them play by themselves. So squeaky toys, stuck toys, very popular. Everyone knows them. Whatever's cute, people are happy to buy. But to use toys in a certain way, to kind of address certain behaviors, to prevent them rather than to be like reactive to something. I think it's a learning curve for people.
So I think that awareness is still not there, that why toys are needed and how it helps your dog. So maybe that, as and when that happens, and as the awareness happens, the more adoption for toys will happen.
I'm sure every dog has a toy basket, but it's a common thing that you see where people say that my dog's not interested in toys, and then you have to wonder that, okay, did you buy 3 things and the dog didn't like them, and then you decided that they're not interested in toys? Have you tried different textures? Have you tried different kinds of toys? Have you interacted with the toy? Tug toy they buy a tug toy, throw it there, and dog's not playing. Where are you in this equation? You know, the tug can be a great game if you make it more fun.
Yeah.
So their kind of involvement or the idea of toy diya and the dog's happy is not enough. Rotate your toys.
So it's similar like with human babies.
Yeah,
The parent has to be
absolutely.
involved with the toy, with the child, otherwise the child doesn't play.
It's for some dogs they want that. The fun of it is the toy is just the tool. The actual fun is playing with you or doing something together. And this is just one of the ways that is done.
So I see you do a lot of videos explaining the toy, how you should play it with your dog, when you should do it. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of content really helps because most of the pet parents, I think, don't know how to use the toys. They just, because in my initial days of pet parenting, when I became a pet parent, I just bought whatever I liked.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether the dog will like it or not. I picked up whatever I thought was really nice.
Correct.
So I think that's what most of the pet parents do. And as the awareness happens that which toy is more suited for your dog and how it needs to be engaged with.
Yeah,
will
how to make
happen.
most of that toy
Yes.
is something that I think people can still think about more. I'm
Yeah.
sure that if they just, like, for another example is when the dog's really hyper, you've come back from a walk, not settling, and at that point you think, acha chalo, let's play chase, let's toss that ball 10 times, let's release all that energy. And the dog's just getting more amped up, is getting more excited, getting more fixated about that thing. And it's not solving that issue that you started out saying that my dog's getting overstimulated. Shant karte hai. Chasing the ball is not the toy or game of choice for that moment. So to just think about that a little bit more, and how they can use the toys, when to kind of make it great for both of them, so that it's a win-win for both dog and pet parent.
What's the best kind of toy for teething purposes?
Teething for young dogs and puppies, there are two reasons puppies teeth, right? One is their teeth are growing at some really fast pace, and those puppy teeth are going to fall out, and permanent teeth are going to come all in 6 months. So, of course, there's a lot of irritation which they like, which makes them want to constantly chew things. But also, as importantly, is that puppies and young dogs use their mouth for exploration. So that's how they can't pick up something and kind of examine it. The best way they know how is to put their mouth on it. So you need to give them lots of textures. So it's not one toy. In fact, it has to be multiple things that you experiment with, again, in rotation, so that your pup doesn't get too bored. And give them an option to have multiple textures. So something wooden, something plastic, something rubber, something cloth, something fleece. It helps keeping that exploratory curiosity going, rather than just everything in that same acha wo ek rope toy ka 4 variations. Instead of that, try and look for different textures. So that's definitely one. For puppies, in fact, the long tug that we have, it's something because of all the scratches that I have from training puppies. That's where it came from. They're really mouthy. They are going to try and get to your hand, and you, of course, don't want that to happen. So some of the easiest things is when you're greeting the puppy, use a tug. When you're using a tug, use something a little bit long so that it keeps those sharp teeth far away from your hands. That's definitely one. And I love snuffle toys for pups too. Again, same thing, because at some point when they get overstimulated, any kind of physical exercise is only going to amp them up more. So if you really want them to kind of calm their nervous system, help them regulate themselves better, something like a chew also, something that edible that they can chew on, or something that kind of relaxes them like an easy sniff game. Great for puppies, and again, multiple benefits because it keeps them engaged, teaches them to play independently even without you.
So globally, the pet toy market is assumed to grow by over more than 7% by 2032. How do you see this trend in India?
It's definitely picking up. I think the whole pets are family concept has definitely grown. The what is it called? DINK, dual income, no kids,
Yes.
where our dogs are our lives and we're willing to do anything for them. is also becoming not as rare as it once was.
Hmm.
So I'm not surprised entirely. I think we're also valuing them more
Yes.
and valuing their what they're meant to do. Dogs, let dogs be dogs. These are
Yes.
things that we're now more willing
Picking
to
up,
accept.
yes.
Earlier, it was very army kind of training. Your dog better sit. Your dog better not
Yes.
bark. It was literally do time ka khana, do time ka walk, and that was the life of a dog, tied up so much. A lot of time where they weren't allowed free movement. Now I think a lot of us are beginning to see dogs and want to give them the best life that we can give them.
So basically, don't
So-
humanize the dogs now.
Exactly. And neither do you humanize them. Like we
Yes.
don't just because they're dogs, it doesn't mean they're lesser than humans. They're
Yes.
different from humans.
Yes.
So the idea is to kind of respect them also, respect them
Yeah.
for what they are as well,
Hmm.
and do the best you can with that.
So even the Indian pet industry, when it comes to all kinds of accessories and not just toys,
Yeah.
is growing at a rapid scale of like makeup of 20% of spending amongst the entire spending what happens on pets.
Oh.
Obviously, food still dominates with 70% of the
Yeah.
spending happening on
Yeah.
food. But this accessory category is also increasing at
I'm sure.
rapid pace now. So within all the accessories, toys is still a smaller portion still, and I think most of it is still dominated by things like obviously leashes and harnesses
Yeah.
and those kind of things. So I think there is a lot of space still there for toys and brands like yours. If as the education happens more, and a lot of brands are coming up now where they're educating pet parents on why toys, what kind of toys. And pet parents are also educating themselves.
True.
Like I'm educating myself now. Why toys? What kind of toys works for small dogs, big dogs?
Yeah.
Because every dog will have a different need. So I think this industry definitely has a major role to play on how pet parenting evolves slowly. Yeah.
I guess it's both ways since
Yes.
pet parents are evolving, so is the industry,
Yes.
and the industry is helping pet parents keep up.
Okay.
So yeah, the demand and supply is barabar
Happening.
going together.
Okay. So, how do enrichment or puzzle toys help in addressing anxiety or loneliness?
Two different things entirely. I mean, it you can have both issues, but if you're talking about anxiety, let's start with that one. Okay, so it depends on how anxious is your dog. And if you're talking about enrichment, I'm talking about snuffle toys specifically. Like I've said before, all toys are enrichment.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about food-based toys and treat-based toys, is that what you mean?
No, generally, are there different kinds of toys which address anxiety and different kinds of toys which address loneliness?
Okay, so not yeah. So if you're talking about addressing anxiety, it depends on what is the dog anxious about and how anxious are they. And so if you're having a panic attack, you can't watch TV or whatever to calm yourself down. It may not help, right? So it's again, it depends on what is the anxiety about and how intense. So if the dog is really anxious about being left alone, like I was saying earlier, if that anxiety is so high that they've gone into a panic attack the minute you've left, then you can leave all the food, you can
All
leave
the
the
toys,
bone,
it
you
will
can
not help.
leave cheese. They're not even going to touch it. It's because their digestive system is literally shut down. That's what a panic attack is.
Okay.
Yeah, so their entire body has now shifted into this
Flight mode.
flight mode, and they shut down. So at the same time, they're panting a lot more. Their nervous system is extremely unregulated at this point. They're not able to eat. So a toy is not, a play is not something that they're going to think of when they're thinking of survival. Yeah, so it will not help in that kind of an extreme case. But you can definitely use toys to prevent your dog from getting there. So in this case of being left alone, you can use it to teach your dog to play by themselves while you're in the next room. Baby steps, if you want to break it down. If your dog gets really anxious because they've bouncing off the walls and they're feeling really restless of energy, you can use playtime together to channel that energy a little bit and kind of calm them down while playing together.
Okay.
So you can use toys, but if you're talking about, it depends on how anxious is the dog and what is that anxiety about. If it's about thunder or Diwali crackers happening outside,
Yeah.
same thing. If your dog's body is now gone into that anxiety attack stage, it's unlikely that play
Toys will help.
is going to happen. You know, we were talking about treats and uh, food being a lot more popular because those are need based. Yeah, this is a luxury. The pleasure of play is something that enhances their life. It fulfills it a little bit more. It goes beyond basics. But the dog also has to be receptive and be in that state of frame of mind to want it, need it, enjoy it.
Can toys influence the human-dog bond?
I mean, you can enhance it. So toys are a great. Maybe some dogs don't like just chasing that ball, but when you get involved, when you shake that tug a little bit, when you squeak that sound, when you get all excited and you are all animated, that's part of the excitement for the dog as well, right? So yeah, I think the most important part of tug is you, and that's what's the best part of the game for a lot of dogs. It's not just playing by themselves, it's doing something together.
So if the pet parent is also involved with the toy, with the pet, then it does impact the human-dog bond.
Yeah, of course. I think both parties realize, hey, what fun! this other one is good fun.
Which are the toys you make? Which are the most loved ones, and why?
I think we're known for our snuffle toys. I think that's one of the more unique ones that we have in India so far. And yeah, I'm definitely proud of having that option for dogs. My favorite as well, my dog's favorite as well. But I think all the toys that we do have a little bit of something different going on with them, which is so depending on the dogs. Not every dog likes snuffle toys, but we have some really fun tugs and squeakies for them. Not all dogs play tugs, so maybe try the snuffle toys. We also have chews, yak chews. I don't know, does she like yak chews?
Not tried.
Not tried. Not every dog likes it, but I've got some for. So yeah, again, for our range of toys, we've not actually our range of products are not limited to toys. The first question we ask is what are the needs that dogs have that are really difficult to fulfill in these apartment settings, and what can we give them to meet that need.
Okay.
So actually, even our long lines. So we have toys, we have chews, we have long lines, because it's as important for a dog to be able to move freely outdoors.
Oh yeah, the long leash. Yeah, I saw
Yes,
that.
yeah.
That's very different. So,
Yeah.
And so how different is it from those leashes which just
The
open up?
retractable ones.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, no hate for those leashes. They don't work for me, and they don't work for a lot of pet parents. If your dog can be reactive, if your dog is heavy and a puller, so if your dog's small, lightweight, very easy breezy walking, and you have the space,
Yes.
and you have the space where that can you're okay for your dog to decide when they want to be 15 feet away and come closer. Because I see most people using it on everyday walks. Sure, that could be fine. But if you're looking for a little bit more control, or if you're looking for a little bit more length, so on the beach, for example, you're looking for a stronger dog where you might need to use both hands to control your dog.
Then
the long lines work better.
Better. Okay. Studies also show that dogs generally pick up unfamiliar toys. 70% of the times they'll pick up an unfamiliar toy and not the same toy which they're playing with.
Yeah.
So how does, like for example, Oreo is stuck to this one toy always. She'll always pick up that first.
Yeah.
So this is a little contradictory from what the studies show. So what is your view on that?
It's a personality thing. Some dogs like comfort toys. You know, the same thing gives them comfort, and you'll see them, they want to, very happy just to just be with that toy.
Okay.
Some like novelty. Some are like, it's just been lying around for so many days. I'm bored of it. I don't know. I know what that does, and I'm done. So whether they prefer comfort or novelty, whether they they like their ghar ka,
Same thing
yeah,
again.
same things, or they like exploring and being more curious. It depends on their personality.
Okay. Is there any difference in the way smaller breeds react to toys compared to larger breeds?
No,
No
I
difference.
don't think it's a breed difference as much as a personality difference.
Okay.
So I think I know Shih Tzus and Poodles who love to chase that ball as much as a lab does.
Yes.
I know both labs and Shih Tzus who don't chase or play with squeaky toys at all. So yeah, I mean, I suppose the breed can kind of give you a hint of what they might like, but it's the personality at the end of it that's going to decide.
What's that one toy which every pet parent should have and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. Uh, and I don't think there's a correct answer to that because I think you have to listen to your dog. I don't think there's a one toy that every dog needs to have. I think every dog needs to have different toys, different phases of life. There's something that they love today might not be so interesting 2 years later, and you have to be okay with that. I think observe your dog and taking that as feedback.
Like human children.
Like human children, yeah.
What advice do you have for first time pet parents selecting toys?
For the first time for a young dog,
Young dog, yeah, generally young dog.
so I would say rather than going for like 5 squeaky toys today because they're 5 cute things or 5 very similar things, I would say look at things that you can use differently. So yes, something that you can tug with, something that's comfortable to tug, something that squeaks. Again, more different textures, more exciting for the dog to experiment and see what they like. You'd be surprised that some dogs are really like something really hard, like a wooden chew. Some find that very uncomfortable and don't like it. So be open to experimenting. I would say DIY. DIY a lot when you have a young dog. Do it yourself. Use all the kachra in your house to create toys for your dogs. Your singular socks, your cardboard boxes, your new toilet paper rolls.
So, give us some examples of how to DIY these low cost toys for your dogs.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things to do is to create a busy bag. Okay, so if there's a Blinkit or Zepto ka bag that comes, I take it, I sprinkle some treats in it. Then I'll take some newspaper or leftover any paper that I find, put a couple of treats in there, crunch that up, add it to the bag. If I have a snuffle toy, maybe for a little bit of an extra challenge, some toys and treats in that as well, put it in. If there's a chew that I have, maybe I'd drop that in as well, and I'd give it to the dog. Then it's really fun to see that some dogs go straight for the easy ones, easy treats. Maybe even throw a few toys in there. That kind of adds to the complexity of the challenge. Some dogs will go. Their favorite part is shredding the paper, is shredding those papers and getting the treats out, and they leave the last easy ones for later. So it's great to kind of try it yourself and see how does your dog react. Okay, he really enjoyed this shredding part. Oh, he really got all the treats really fast. The challenging toy was a breeze for him. So it's yeah. So it's really, I mean, definitely try stuff at home. Even if you don't have a toy, you can always have a game, right? You chase me, or I'm going to hide treats around this room. You can still play together even without a toy. But important thing is to see what your dog's enjoying.
Okay. What common mistake people make while picking toys, whether it is related to size, safety, or material?
Look, I mean, I feel that you have to know your dog a little bit. I call it, instead of KYC, I call it KYD. You have to know what is their strength. Are they power chewers? Are you okay with your dog destroying something, or do you want your dog to, even because that's a very natural instinct, right? That is what the whole point of the game is. A squeaky toy is for your dogs. The most rewarding part is going to be when they pardo it and get that squeaker out. But maybe you don't like that. So you have to know your dog to know that are they going to eat fabric-based stuff? Or are they such power chewers that even like a Kong they can chew
Yeah.
through or not? So if you know your dog
Hmm.
and you know what's safe for them, it'll be easier for you to make that choice at the pet store or
So,
online.
do you recommend rotating toys and changing the toys?
Definitely. Unless there's a comfort toy. That's the
Yeah.
only exception
Hmm.
where if you know that this is your dog's comfort toy, I don't mind the dog having it all the time. But if they are the kinds who kind of again gets bored,
Yeah.
then rather than buying a new toy every week, it would be really easy if you put it away for some time, take it out of eye view, and suddenly like a month later, if it comes out, they'll be like, "Wow, new toy!" It's like
Okay.
bring out that novelty all over again.
Okay. Can you share a memorable story where one of your toys made really made a difference to the dog's life?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have some sad stories where senior dogs, especially, where who weren't able to move or who were really restricted in their movement, found some solace in snuffle toys. I think those are the ones that have like left the biggest mark on me. Um, and I've seen that same thing with puppies, where a pet parent who was like in tears and he's like, I was making biggest mistake of my life. I was starting to like regret by bringing this dog home. And just those few minutes of peace was so precious and gave me like little bit of time to kind of um, get my head back on track. So I love hearing those stories.
What's next for the love of dogs?
We have a long way to go. I still see a lot of gaps in our Indian market that I feel we can address. Yeah, I have. I think the um, difficulty in the Indian market, or for me rather, is the education part, where people still aren't looking to think so much. They just want to get that toy. Want to, like I said, buying toys is very incidental. Very few people are like, okay, I'm looking for something specific and need based, and let's try and get that. They're not as willing to experiment. So I'm hoping that we can crack those first. But yeah, I still see a lot of gaps that we can get to, and cats have to get there soon.
What's the one message you would want to leave for the pet parents?
That your dog deserves to be allowed to be a dog. I think we don't realize just how many times we say no to our dog. You know, like in the dog, in like along the from the time you wake up, no, don't go there, no, don't pull on walk. Your dog has four legs, but you're expecting them to walk at your pace next to you. Don't chew that, even though chewing is the most natural thing for a dog that like a dog likes to do, especially if they're young and mouthy. We give them a toy, but we don't want them to tear it. We get them a tug, but we don't want to play together. We want them to sit in one corner and like just cuddle with it. Our expectations from our dogs are quite high. Don't steal that. Something on the table. Don't eat it. Don't disturb. I'm on a meeting. Leave me alone. That we're constantly saying no to our dogs. So my only advice, very simply, would be find more ways to say yes.
Thank you, Deepthi. That was really encouraging and insightful on how toys should be used for dogs.
Thank you. I'm glad I got to meet you guys.